Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy. Not too long ago I went to the track with a Fairmont and, well, I learned a few things. First is I need to learn how to drive it better, also not do as big of a burnout, but more importantly I need to keep my cold side on my turbo together. Now originally when I put my cold side piping together, I just cut things and clamped it down and hoped they'd stay together. Well, now with my new turbo I'm finding that, well, that's not going to do it. So today I'm just going to show you real quick what I'm doing to solve this problem, and that's rolling beads on these tubes. Now this was my practice one that I did first, and let me walk you through how I'm doing this. Alright, as I said, this was my practice one. This was the manufacturer bead. This one I went in a little too far. Well, my cut wasn't all that straight either. That probably had something to do with it. I just recently did this pipe, which I also feel is a little too far in, so I need to move farther out. And the reason I say this is because the tube's going to have to be way up here with a clamp on it, and there's not going to be a whole lot, so I need to sort of make up for it on this side. One of the first things I've learned with this, and I'm using a bead roller for this, so I'm going to show you in a second, is it's a real good idea to mark a line where you want to go. Over here is my Eastwood bead roller, and you can add different attachments onto here. You add beads to things for a number of different reasons. A lot of times to add strength. So if you've got a flat piece of metal and you put a bead in it like this, it actually adds a lot of strength to that piece of metal. This is the tool that's done with. Now what I'm using it for, with these attachments on here, there are several attachments that you can use. And this is not a sponsored video by Eastwood, but I'm using the attachments to roll the bead. Now it's important that you not put it up like this, or else you'll have an inverse bead. So I have to put it down in there like this. All right, as I said, and I haven't been very successful with drawing a straight line, partly because this cut isn't necessarily straight, but I'm just using the edge of the table here, is to draw a line where you want the bead to be. And I'm going to try to put this one fairly close to the end. This is aluminum tubing that I got from Silicone Intakes, just as an FYI. So if you're working with stainless, this will probably be a lot different, but this tubing is aluminum or aluminium, depending upon where you're from. Before I get started, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a closer look at the tool and its operation. It's really just these two rods here, and this end gets the tools, this end is geared. In fact, it's a good idea to have a buddy to do this, because the length of this tool, the way this is set up, I'm kind of having trouble like holding it over here with one hand and cranking it with the other. But it's split down the middle, and this top roller is slotted, and then there's this set screw. So as I tighten this screw, it's going to increase pressure between the two parts of the tool here. Dare I call these dies. I'm going to first slip the piece of metal in between here, and I'm going to turn the crank so that I can rotate it so that eventually it's going to bend this groove in. And as I said, you don't want to have this up here like this, because it's going to be inverse. I want to have it down here so that the bead is on top on the outside. I'll just lift this up, put this roughly in line. I'll just run down the set screw a little bit. The first few go rounds are what I'm going to call an introduction. I'm trying to create a path that I can follow, because once you've got a groove, then really the machine does the work. Initially, you have to keep this thing in line, or else. And the other thing you'll notice is this tube will go up and down as I rotate it. So I'm trying to keep it straight and level, as straight and level as I can. And yeah, it does slip a little bit at first. But this, as I said, helps give me a guide where to go, or where things are gonna go. And just slowly run this down a little bit more each time. And I'm turning the crank clockwise. I've noticed if you turn it this way, it spreads the tool. So if you turn it counterclockwise, the tool wants to walk towards you. I want the tool to work in against itself, so that's why I'm holding it here. You can see a line starting to be drawn there, and I'm actually trying to follow that line more than I'm trying to follow my drawn line. I'm trying to line this groove up with the inside. that's gonna do it. When you're done, just loosen it up all the way. You can lift up, bring it out. And there we have my new bead. And this should help keep my hoses in place. And I just wish I would have gotten this one a little farther down. This is my third attempt, and quite honestly, I feel my best. Well, there's that piece of pipe all reinstalled and a blow-off valve on it. You can clearly see a ridge up above that clamp now, so it shouldn't go anywhere. Okay, well, the next time you've got cold side piping that you had to cut to fit like I did, really good idea to roll a bead on the outer edge. I use this Eastwood tool. I'm sure there's lots of tools out there you can do that with. I'll put a link in the description for this one if you want to check this one out. Also, there are different ends that are required for doing stuff like this, but I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out, and I'm hoping that my cold side stays together. Put links in the description to additional information. If you have automotive questions not covered in this video, I ask you head to EricTheCarGuy.com, also linked in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to all those things that help me make a living. I really appreciate that. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty, and I will see you next time. Bye.